Hello, it's Phillip Taylor from Richmond Green Chambers speaking. I'm looking at a biography, it's actually an autobiography in this case, of an English Crown Court judge. It's called The Life and Times of an English Crown Court Judge. It's this book here, Ballot Box to Jury Box by John Baker. His Honour John Baker, who was a circuit judge for many years. It's a good book, and one that I think will be of great interest to both legal persons and political persons. I've given it the title, and it's appeared obviously as a written review in various journals and also on the internet. The title is Serious Business and Special Causes, and I'll explain why, because this is without doubt a special book which combines personal judicial memories with an historic understanding of the history of the Liberal Party, as it was then called, in the second half of the 20th century. It's a very human book, which is actually to be expected in view of the author's experiences. I've obviously met and I know the author, and it gives a new insight into some of the hitherto unknown aspects of political life at the end of World War II. Certainly it will be interesting from a historian's point of view. The latter part of the book illustrates some candid commentaries on contemporary judicial thinking at the time, obviously, that John Baker was at the end of his political career and the beginning of his legal career, and certainly his judicial career. And he's not inhibited in any way when describing some of the individuals he has become involved with professionally since 1972. It's quite clear that Judge Baker was a loss to the parliamentary world, but it's also interesting to reflect, as I have done, on how many active politicians I've met from all three of the main serious political parties who fall into the same category as Baker. My Tory colleagues have often described election to Parliament as a lottery, and I'm afraid I have to agree with that. Of course, luck plays a prominent part, but politics was not to be for John Baker, and the bench was all the better for this course of events, in my view. It's fortunate for the English judicial system that the Courts Act arrived just as it did. It was long overdue, of course, and it enabled Baker to participate in one of the more exciting reforms of the late 20th century, from the sort of early 1970s onwards. He's probably lucky he doesn't have to put up with the current reforms that we're going through, more to do with expediency and cost cutting after some of the ill-thought extravagances that we had in the 1990s. Certainly he's also lucky to have escaped the crusading media, who are clearly out to criticise lenient sentencing and outing soft judges when the media don't really know collectively what they're talking about, because they haven't heard the way the trial has gone and seen the behaviour of the dramatis personae. Whilst much has been written about Baker's political life, it's his judicial work, in my view, for which he will be probably the most remembered. From chapter 7 onwards in the book, starting on the bench, he describes with some candour the plight which can confront newly appointed judges, and I think this is very helpful, certainly for my contemporaries, who I know don't really feel they want to speak out. I suspect his practice as a solicitor, because that's where John started, gave him an additional insight into what the Lord Chancellor expected of Her Majesty's judges in the early 1970s. Thankfully a role now firmly in the hands of the Lord Chief Justice, with the changes that we've had at the top of the judiciary. Any member of the bar who's an interest in pursuing a judicial career should, in my view, read this book. It's written very much in the personal style of the man himself, and it paints a most useful picture, I think, of the path which the judiciary have taken since those changes with the Courts Act, and the creation, of course, more recently of the Judicial Studies Board, which is, I think, a tremendous help for everyone. The mixture of everyday people and the various celebrities which one meets in both politics and the law is actually well covered here. I mean, living as he has in Richmond for many years, as I do, he obviously has met an awful lot of people across the board, and in each case Baker has deftly dealt with them, if I can put it that way. He's got an amiable but firm approach, which I think is quite clear throughout the work. I've read many judicial biographies and autobiographies, but this one stands out, as I said, because he deals with the serious business and with the special causes, and that's something which John Baker has stood for. I think it's a great addition to the world of judicial biography, and as I say, it's well worth reading. Thank you very much, John, for a great book. Bye bye.